Hi. Do you remember what your first out of body experience was like? Where did you go? What did you do? How old were you? I want to know about it in the comments because I've got the same question from myself from one of the viewers. And it got really interesting. I answered that in the comments, but just as well hey, that might be a good subject to talk about. So what the hell? I'm in. Um the way it happened for me, and it's really weird because it happened very early. I was 6 years old when I had my first OBE, and it was pretty intense. And back at the time when I was a kid, I did not understand at all it was an out of body experience. I could not tell the difference. Did not have the knowledge, and all my parents were telling me that was just a bad nightmare. Don't worry, it's all okay. But for me as a kid, it was really intense and way too real. And I think as kids, we have way more powerful abilities because we're still not affected by this world. The reality is not limiting us because our conscious, you can pick up a bottle and give life to it. Whatever you pick up, you make it alive because you're giving it so much. And that's why kids have imaginary friends and stuff. Anyway, going back to my movie, I'm 6 years old and I go to sleep and I wake up in a planet, a whole different place. I'm still as a kid over there, and what's happening is that I see people running, and I'm what the hell is happening? Everyone's screaming and running, and I'm here I'm pretty calm, it's what's up? And I'm just there, and I walk around, see people running, and there's literally spaceships coming in and shooting dragons or leaders of the planet, and literally everything's just being destroyed. The mount is exploding, the volcanoes are erupting, it's all everything's being covered with ash and stuff. This was pretty horrible and intense. And for me as a kid, I would wake up crying. Literally, it was so intense, and it would shake me up, and whoa. And I did not understand it. For me, it was real as can be. It was. It is real. It's real as can be. But all I got from my parents and stuff, they did not have that. They did not have the understanding as well. So all I would know about the whole stuff that happened was just nightmare, bad dream. Don't worry about it. Everything's okay. But for me, things were not okay because that whole first time of having out of body experience and stuff, it does not stop. For me, what happened is that I would keep coming back to that place again and again and again for years. It did not stop. 3 times would be enough, but it would still continue happening for 8 years, and that was really intense for me. So what happened was that after I started learning more about the world and what's going on, I expanded my knowledge and stuff. I found Rich 2150X on YouTube, and he taught me a lot. We talked about movies and stuff, and he shared the point that hey, it's out of body experience, but at the same time you can be recalling your past, and that's when it clicked. So right now when I look back at the whole experience and what I've experienced through the years and how much I've changed and stuff, I've been reliving my past life. I've literally been a kid over there, and the planet was being destroyed, and everything's really bad. Come on, you just look at it and the whole experience and how intense it is and stuff. And I would have to go through it for 8 years. It would happen 3 times a month or so, or twice or 3 times a month. But it would happen pretty often. I would have the dream a lot. I mean, dream, but out of body experience and past life recall. And I'm calling it out of body experience because once I would get out, if it would be just simple past life, I would be stuck in time, and basically I would repeat the cycle. Okay, the planet's being destroyed, everyone's dead, bam, that's it. And I would basically recall the whole time, okay, everyone was destroyed, the end. And I would just keep on doing that. The thing that changed, and from the very first time, when I wasn't too much aware of it, but now when I look at it, I always kept looking what can I do differently that time? What can I do? How can I change things? How can I have a different outcome? And so for 8 years, I was struggling without having zero knowledge about the whole thing, because I thought it was just a nightmare, a bad dream. And so I kept exploring for ways, what can I do out there in that planet when that happens, so that I could help people and stuff. So when I met Rich and he taught me more about UBIs, the next time when I got out of body and I ended up being in the same place, I changed the events. I'm there as a kid, everyone's running, and what I do is I stop the time, take the spaceships out, teleport them out of the system. I started healing the planet, everything's in control. I started lifting the vibrations and getting the telepathic communication with people, so that hey, don't worry, we're gonna be fine, it's okay, we're gonna control stuff. And so after being there for a few hours, here Earth terms, I think it was an hour or two, but that place, it was about a few days at least. I mean, out of body in that plane and stuff. And so what happens is that once I get out of body and I was able to change the events, I stopped having that OBE. I stopped having that recall of a past life. And what happened to me was I was able to get back into my past life, and that traumatic incident of losing my relatives and people that I love and care about, and the whole planet being destroyed, that was like the traumatic incident. So what happened is when I would go out of body, and I've learned to control it, and I've learned to be in control and like change the events, I was able to change the outcome and changed my past life into having a different outcome. So what happened is that I can go back to that OBE. I mean, like, I can get out of body and go back to that place and be like, hey, that's me. This is me. Like, I can see how things changed over the years. And it's pretty amazing. So yeah, like that's my experience. And same thing for you. Like if you're having reoccurring dream or something that still keeps happening, it's very possible that it might be your past life. And the thing that it happens is that we as people, we have like great recall, or we should have, but we're like limited by Earth standards and stuff. And once you recall your past life, it's quite likely that you had something traumatic happening. Whatever the incident was, it might have had affected you. So for me, like it was like losing my relatives and people that I love. And as a kid, as I lived like from like I guess all my life until like 14 years old, until I was able to change the outcome, I was like literally having a really hard time and like big fears on losing people that I love, or just like my relatives going away, or I see them running, and it would scare me. I would not know that, like, it's not that I knew this, I did not know the connection, but right now with the present knowledge, like, hey, that's what happened. So with me, I was able to change the outcome of my past life, get a different understanding, and like change the events. So now, whenever I see similar stuff happening in my life, like relatives running or whatever happening, no triggers. Like I'm fine, and that's the best part. So like if you might have like recalls of past life and you remember your traumatic incidents, you can go out of body and change the events of that whole incident. And as you change the events and things happen like the way you want it, you might get rid of those triggers. So whatever you're having in your life, it might be fine. Anyway, so that's my take on this whole thing. Pretty nice for first OBE, huh? Anyway, so yeah, please share your OBEs, your first out-of-body experience in the comments. Like, I want to know what was it like for you, because for me it was intense, but I'm like, hey, everyone's different, so I want to know what's like for you. And if you did not have it, if you did not have an OBE yet, what would you like it to be like? So anyway, that's my take, and hope you have a nice day. Bye.